that. I wanted to know. It's like he would have armed himself with that information. So he's been wanting to say it. That's why I approached. I had the character say it. Like
so he's been carrying it around.
Been carrying it around. So when it comes out, it's like. Brrr.
Veteran character actor Mike Delonzo here, turning in a star turn.
And now we had to take. It took 4 years to shoot this moment because the two of them wouldn't stop making each other laugh.
Well, this was actually this was the shot that was we had the most takes of this shot of the whole film.
Of the entire
I think we had
thing.
14 or 15.
Because they couldn't stop making each other laugh.
We've known each other for 20 years, and that we've.
Although to be fair, it's a very complicated shot. 'Cause there's a series of 6 things that has to happen in succession.
And now, it was also interesting where this was.
That's what I was just going to say. That's right. Yes, this was a big empty basement at the church that Brandy completely dressed and turned into a room. There's no window there. There's no wall.
No, she did a phenomenal job with this.
If you notice, they haven't changed.
I didn't say good job.
And they partied the night before. They're both hungover. They're all hungover. They're still dirty.
I just had a crab cake and accidentally.
And then there's the sweater.
Yeah, I really wish we had. My issue from a script and a shooting point of view coming into this scene is that we didn't set up these sweaters better. I wish we had just kind of done it a little bit differently because these sweaters, you can't really tell in the black and white, but they were. I mean, Jeffrey got these bright orange sweaters, and they were the most hideous things I've ever seen in the world. And I think you kind of get it because Kirby walks in wearing it, and you can see the people in the room.
And it's a giant snowflake.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
also. But
and now you flip around and look, you've got this huge room here that she made out of nothing.
Yeah, this was all just a big open spare basement.
Tommy would hit himself in the head too. That's actual sound.
That was yeah.
Damn.
But yes, there was a whole other scene where it was the sister or somebody who had a talk, and then she presents the shirts to everybody.
Yes, we had to sort of combine.
It just didn't. It didn't move the story forward really, except for getting the shirt. The only point to have was to get the shirts out there.
Right. I think we tried to finesse it as best we could, but
so on that table, the food that we had picked up, we kept getting told not to eat it. And as we would shoot the scene, as it would get warmer and warmer in there, the cheese would start to sweat. And everything just started getting this film over it. And I still ate it.
Yeah.
Tommy did. We all kept eating it. We drove her
I love sweaty
crazy.
cheese. I love sweaty cheese.
All right. Annabelle worked at Radio City Music Hall.
nice music cue.
Yeah, the music cue in
Zach
this
as well.
is
Ticket taker.
It's not too jokey, but it's just a little, gives it a little something extra.
Maureen was married to one of his golf buddies.
Everyone's terrified.
Everyone's got the sweaters.
I forget the name of the young man in that scene, but he's also an Emerson College student.
Wow.
I love that they're both holding that sweater. I just noticed that for the very first
Yeah,
time.
they've all
They're
got the
both
sweaters.
but the way they're holding it,
Yeah.
It's like they're
bouncy.
like they just pulled it up out of the river.
Not to mention a very attractive young babysitter named Amy, which brings us to Magic.
Robin Sims again.
Robin Sims and Sean Donnelly.
Babysitter who worked for a woman with a pool. Oh.
Wasn't there another? There was like 2 pages we nipped in the. It's still represented as one line where Kirby says Patrick's dad was more of a dad to me than my dad.
Yeah, we had
there was a whole extra scene
we
about
gave
that, right?
everything of what Patrick's dad used to do for.
That's right. That's right. The relationship that they all had
Picked up with the man she was seeing when she was supposed to be seeing.
got kind of condensed.
And also how Alden felt a little left out from there too.
Right. That's right.
Never told me that story. I mean, I throw the word father around because let's be honest.
There's the line afterwards she used to say I was drunk at the time, which was kind of a funny line, but I just don't think it worked.
It never quite
It
You know how many sweaters I have?
fit.
I can insulate a house.
it was funny, but I don't think it really made much sense when you
Bought him in August.
Tommy does a great job.
Yes.
This is hysterical.
his fight.
So you might want to turn your eyes now because you're going to see my stomach. There it goes. There it goes. By the way, I did want to point out somewhere during this, I didn't know where it was going to come up, that I had gained weight in conversations with James. I gained weight for this role, and I want to thank him because I've never freaking lost it. Fat turd now.
This is what I call the Mexican standoff.
Apologize to the lady.
With the 2 guys fighting and their proxies behind them.
This is great.
Amy is my fiance. Blood is your fiance?
I did play Scott in rehearsal, as I recall. Great cut.
I love the magic of film, to think that this where we're now.
on a stage.
Basically on a stage with a guy with 2 flashlights way in the distance. And
well, there's actually
what you can do. That's a wonderful reveal.
He does a great job. And there's a grip in the back there with
Right on Harvard.
a black sheet over his head, pushing a light around on a dolly, and then there's another light up on a C-stand that we're spinning around,
Never mind.
and 2 other people kind of bouncing in the car.
Now, should we talk about why this scene is here?
Why don't you begin talking about this? Let's begin this conversation.
Well,
This is-
I remember we had a ending that took place. The fight scene happens and they take Kirby to the hospital, and they kind of all each go their separate ways and sort of have their comeuppance given to them by somebody completely different.
so you're saying each character went off.
Each character went off in their own place, and I believe
Seriously.
I'm sorry. Alden gets talks to a Jewish doctor. Kirby gets turned down by a nurse, and all this stuff happens. And it never did really. It was always questioned. Was it working? Was it working? Was it working? But we were going forward with it anyhow, and then suddenly
It was a good chunk of material.
It was a good chunk. It was like about 30.
5 to 10 pages.
I think it was like 15.
500 pages, I think.
Yeah, it was.
4,000
28
pages.
page scene.
And we felt this is where all the characters arced. Well, during that period they talked about where we lost sort of a week. I believe the reason you lost that week was because we lost the hospital location.
Well, we shut down on the last day of shooting before the final day was the bar scene, and that's sort of when we ran out of money and had to regroup. And we did go down for a week, and but the next all of this stuff that takes place in the car was spread out with other stuff in this hospital scene, and we scouted.
Yeah.
We spent the hardest production challenge of this film was trying to find a hospital. We looked at an abandoned hospital. We tried to get into other hospitals that were set up for other shows. We were at one point we rewrote it for obstetricians.
Yes.
One in Orange County, didn't
There was one in Orange County we were going to go to, and none of it worked out for various reasons. So we had
Low budget filmmaking.
so we had to scrap all of that material and condense it down into the core conversation between the 3 characters and put them in the car driving to the hospital. And there is a hospital scene coming up, but it all got condensed down.
And I remember we got together for lunch, like an extended lunch, and we sort of went over the script and said, all right, we need to do a car scene. What do we need to accomplish in this car scene? And we sat down, and I believe you hacked out the first draft of it pretty quickly, and we just tightened it and enhanced it from there.
Yeah, except although I will give John credit. John
yes.
wrote this monologue himself. This is his monologue. I mean, he took some things we had, but he really made it his own, and he sort of ran with it because we didn't have the pages finished by the day of shooting, and he went off in the corner and wrote a monologue and came back.
Well, this was a 2-hour conversation that he and I had on the phone where we basically insulted each other for about 2 hours. And what would be the worst thing that you would possibly say to me? And both of our little speeches kind of grew out from there.
Well, what's nice about this moment, I think, and what also speaks to the filmmaking process is, the filmmaking process is sort of organized chaos, and you can go in with a plan, but it can unravel pretty quickly. And the nice thing about this scene, I think, is that in the end, we didn't need all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had been in there, we probably would have ended up cutting it. And the nice thing is that you take these 3 characters who are at their emotional peak and you stuff them into this very cramped space and make them try and interact. And I think that it works well.
Tom.
Your little 2001 homage.
That was Brandy's idea.